Hello everybody, it's Anne. Here I am popping on behind my apron tonight, and I wanted to pop on because, sometimes you get in a cooking rut. So I have a couple tips for you. And tonight I'm going to show you the homemade pitas I'm making for the easy beef Greek pitas that we're having for supper, okay? So as we talk about this, I'll come back to the couple tips that if you're in a cooking rut. But I'm excited to see some of you online with me. It's Monday night, so I know you might need some Monday motivation for what you're cooking for the rest of the week. But if you've already got your meal plan done, drop it in the comments below so I can see what you guys are doing for meal planning. But I want to just let you know the very first thing I did for this recipe is here in my absolute favorite 10-inch stainless steel nonstick skillet. I've already browned the ground beef that had onions, garlic, and oregano in it. And if you always like the recipes or you like to follow along with what I'm cooking, this recipe for the meat and dressing mixture is in my Second Harvest cookbook, and it's on page 70, okay? So we have some homemade pita dough, and this was actually a very easy recipe because it just used yeast, water, olive oil, flour, salt. Seems like one other thing. Let me think about it and it'll come back to me. And I made the mixture about an hour ago because you do need to let it rest for about an hour so it rises. And then you flatten it out and then you just divide. I just made a single batch so it makes 8 pitas. So just take the dough into the 8 balls. And I'm using the little pastry mat that we have that makes life really easy to roll things out. And I'm using the dough roller. And you just want to kind of stretch and spin your dough as you're shaping it so that it will, not stick and you don't overflour it. I think that's one of the things when I've made pitas, you just don't want them to be dry. And so that means you don't want to overflour them. And you can make them if you want bigger pitas than this. Like this is the result of one I already did, but I like that to fill and fold like sandwich or taco size. But if you want to make bigger ones, then you just either make your batch bigger or you don't put the balls into such small pieces. Then I have heated on the stove the 12-inch cast iron skillet. You can also make this pita recipe in the oven if you want to, but I wanted to do it on the stovetop so I could show you. But you just throw your pita dough right on the hot skillet that had just a little bit of olive oil put on it. And as you can see, it's starting to bubble. So when you first put it down, you only want to leave it for about 30 seconds. Then flip it over and let it cook for a minute on that side. And while we do it, I'm going to tell you about the dressing, what makes these the Greek, because this is like a homemade tzatziki. So there's plain Greek yogurt and a diced tomato in here so far. We are going to add Pampered Chef's all-purpose dill mix, a teaspoon of that, because that is just fabulous. And then way down here, and I know you're a long ways away, but I'm just dicing some English cucumber that I already peeled. And we're going to add that into the same dressing with the yogurt and the tomatoes, because this is what you will use on top of the pita when you go to assemble it to eat it tonight. I'll just drop those in there. We'll come back. We'll pop back over here. I'm going to flip this pita for another minute on the other side now and stir this. This is something too, like if this is a bigger batch than what you need for your family, this will be okay for a couple days in your refrigerator. So if you don't mind eating leftovers, you guys can eat the rest of it in the next day or two. That's always an okay thing to do when you make it like this. So I have this going on right now in the mixture. And then the pitas are going to come out of there in just a second. But I want to show you something that came out new this fall from Pampered Chef. This is the new rotating peeler. So as you can see, you can change which way you like it to peel. So if you want to just peel your cucumber like this or your potato, or if you want to switch it up and go this way. And you guys, when I started with Pampered Chef over 30 years ago, I absolutely loved the vegetable peeler. I had no idea there was such a difference in quality of peelers. I'm going to take this pita off. It looks great. And this peeler is really, really, really nice as well. It reminds me of the very first original one with the stainless steel blades that you can go both ways. So don't hesitate for that. But I'm going to take another ball of dough. See, I have them just sitting over here. I'm just going to take another ball of dough and make another pita. So if you guys are following along or watching, let me know if you've ever made homemade pitas and if you bake them in the oven or if you do them on top of the stove, because I think next time I'm going to try to bake them, because one of the things this recipe said is that you'll get a bigger bubble, so you'll get a bigger pocket if they're baked in the oven. And you guys, you have to bake them really hot though, like 475 degrees is the recommendation for that. But as you can see, it's super, super simple. And I just got this pita recipe off of Pinterest because I had tried one before that I thought was just chewier, tougher than I wanted. And the reviews that I read on this one that Matt actually found it sounds like they're soft and fluffy. So that's kind of what I was after. So easy pitas, the Greek Pita Folds. And you guys don't leave out the oregano when you're browning the ground beef, and don't leave out the all-purpose dill mix and the cucumber in the dressing, because it's kind of that combination that makes it Greek and the tzatziki flavoring. So if you have questions, pop them in there on the chat. I'll come back and look at it. And then what I was going to tell you, if you're in a cooking rut, a couple good tips to do. One is grab a cookbook. Grab a cookbook you maybe haven't cooked in for a while, and put that cookbook on the countertop and cook out of it for this month. That will give you some new recipes and some new ideas. Second of all, you could take that same cookbook or a favorite cookbook and sit down and make a list, which that's what I did today. What I did was went through the cookbook and wrote down all things that sounded good that I want to make sometime coming up. And so I have a list now that's got about 30 things on it. So it will get me through this month and next month, and it'll just give you a ton of ideas. So that should just maybe help if you're looking for something different. And don't forget, if you need a Pampered Chef item, the Black Friday deals are still going on while supplies last in November, and we added more just a couple days ago. So if you need a link to do easy shopping, you know where to find me. And for all of you on my virtual parties this week, welcome to the party, and you got a sneak peek in my kitchen. See everybody soon.